Horikoshi secretly revealed Deku's next master, all while setting up the end of My Hero Academia. Don't believe me? My Hero Academia chapter 328 is titled Connected, which very much connects how All For One and Shigaraki were able to get out, while connecting that from the information that Stain has received from Tartarus, which then connects to the next war that's about to begin that will end My Hero Academia, which is exactly why Horikoshi revealed Deku's new master. Hey, Wyze. The beginning of this chapter focused heavily around Stain and what exactly happened a month ago when the ultimate anti-quirk special prison facility Tartarus was broken into. At the beginning of Tartarus prison break, chaos ensued with many high-class criminals and villains being happy that they were able to go out and continue the crimes that they did initially. One such man is a perverted individual who couldn't wait to get back out and start chasing women again. However, at the peak of his optimism and happiness, Stain put an end to his happiness and his life within a split second, slicing his neck as he hears these perverted things that he's going to do while he's chasing women. Stain immediately wonders what is going on because absolutely no information about the outside world is allowed to be passed into Tartarus, nor in the hands of the incarcerated. So if Tartarus has been broken down, then Hero Society, as Stain knows it, is no more, meaning that the heroes allowed Hero Society to fall and All Might was not able to save anyone. And considering the fact that there is no information that's able to come into Tartarus, Stain would not have known that All Might was not available to save society as a whole. This sparked Stain to seek information. He needed to find out what is going on, leading him to the control room where he sees an abundance of prison guards seemingly dead, while there was only one left who was barely alive but curled up holding something as if it was his own child. The guard questioned why is Stain taking the information rather than taking his weapon, confused on if Stain is going to do bad or going to do good. And as Stain replies that he needs information, the guard screams his name saying, "Do not give this information to any of Shigaraki's followers. It is something more important than anything at this particular point in time." Ambiguous in his next action, Stain takes the recording device and starts to leave, having the guard in desperation try to threaten Stain to not kill anybody, and that whatever he does, he has to return that recording device to someone who is a just person, someone who isn't on the side of evil, because if he does, the present that we all know will all be destroyed. Stain admirably looks back at the guard and says, "Do not worry, your determination will be rewarded. I can assure that it will reach a just person." And as the building is starting to collapse on the guard and his final words are being expressed, he screams to the top of his lungs, "Akaguro, are you a man or a monster?" To which Stain replies, "Only those who strive for a completely just world are monsters." This was the beginning of All For One's plan to take over Japan, or later on we found out a little bit more than just Japan. But Stain did not allow himself to be seen by All For One and immediately jumped into the ocean to try to get this information to the person that he knows he can trust the most, claiming that the man whose name he didn't even know during his final moments tried desperately to protect whatever it is that Stain took, and whether or not it has value is not up to Stain. The desperation of this guard to give this information to somebody who is just is the reason why Stain will pass it on to the only human that he can trust. Stain holds the belief that in order to serve this world, you will have to walk through the path of death, and that the only one who can accept this device is the only one who should accept this challenge, which is All Might, because he is the one who started all of this. And Stain mentioning that in order to serve this world, you have to walk through the path of death, that is yet again another connection to the inevitable death of All Might, furthering the point by saying All Might is the only one who is able to walk that path because he's the only one who created that path. And if All Might is the only one that should be walking the path of death, then that means that he's the only one who should die from walking the path of death. And speaking of All Might, we fast forward 1 month, or more specifically 35 days, to All Might's encounter with Tsukauchi, who by the way looks very Chad-like with the stubble beard mustache combination. All Might went back to Tsukauchi to discuss more on the information that we have received from Stain, in which Tsukauchi mentions that Tartarus' system is cut off from the outside world, and that there's no way that they would have been able to gain any information or access to this data normally. He says that the bowels of Tartarus was heavily damaged from the inside out during the last fight due to the radio wave that Shigaraki attacked with, causing all of the systems to go down, as he was trying to find information on how it was possible for Shigaraki to even know what to do. Officer Sansa mentioned that All For One was residing in Shigaraki's body due to the Vestige world inside of All For One, and All Might doubled down on that by saying that he was able to share his thoughts with Shigaraki due to part of his consciousness still residing within his quirk, which is something that All Might has experienced as well in One for All. However, he was not able to communicate both ways, where his physical body was able to communicate with his consciousness dwelling within One for All, but his consciousness within the One for All quirk was not able to communicate with him until the events that happened after the Paranormal Liberation War arc when Deku was in the hospital, in which when All Might was close enough to make direct contact with him, his consciousness created memories that were inside of One for All and translated that to All Might's physical body, allowing him to feel exactly what is being done inside of the One for All vestige world. And being that All for One synchronicity seems to be greater than One for All Might predicts that All for One will be able to communicate with his real body approximately 500 meters underwater. However, Tsukauchi mentioned that although that may be true, both Shigaraki and All for One were able to use radio signals, and that if Shigaraki was able to use these radio waves more precisely, then there's a strong possibility that he was able to transceive information to All for One and All for One to Shigaraki. And this very much was shown twice in the Paranormal Liberation War arc. The first time is when Shigaraki initially woke up, and in his fight against Endeavor, he used the radio wave quirk and the transceive information to awaken the Nomus that were asleep. And the second time was a more advanced version of the radio wave that All for One did, where All for One explicitly said that if Shigaraki were to master the radio wave quirk, he would be able to transceive direct orders and be able to communicate clearly with the Nomus. So Tsukauchi is very on the money with his analysis when he says that if one possesses a radio wave type quirk, then it's most likely that they are able to receive as well as transmit their thoughts to each other. And that actually came to be true, as the recording device that Stain received from the guard inside of Tartarus displayed radio signals that if you were able to crack the code, you would be able to hear the conversations or know the conversations of whatever the radio signal were. And the information that was transmitted from All for One and Shigaraki was that Shigaraki will be complete in 38 days, where originally they said it was 2 months, meaning that they would have about a month left. Now they only have 3 days to prepare for a 100% plus ultra Shigaraki and All for One, meaning that we have officially hit the end game of the My Hero Academia storyline with a 100% plus ultra Shigaraki and a full powered All for One. It's not likely that any of the heroes will be able to do anything against them, but that doesn't mean that they cannot bolster their strength and try to help as much as possible. So in response to this information of only having 3 days until a perfect Shigaraki, the top heroes in Japan and Best Genius, Hawks, Endeavor, and All Might contacted the International Hero Public Safety Commission to send reinforcements by tomorrow. But even worse than Shigaraki being awakened in 3 days is the information that we received next from the International Hero Safety Commission. After they were about to end the meeting on sending heroes to Japan, one of the commission members mentioned that it's very odd. It's almost like every single country is in chaos simultaneously by sheer coincidence. And we know that it's not at all by coincidence, because according to the ICPO, All for One has been able to give information and slither his name into other nations, transcending him from somebody who is just trying to take over Japan, in which he's already done that in the past, to a villain who is effectively trying to take over the world. All for One being an international threat, just as All Might was an international hero, is amazing, and it 1000% sets up a level of world building that we have never been able to think about, where the entire world potentially is about to be our playing field. Other countries pro hero like Salam and Big Red Dots from My Hero Academia Movie 3 are urging to help Japan because they know All for One is growing slowly, and because with the My Hero Academia Movie 3 being canon, they have effectively worked together on an international mission to save the world just a couple of months prior. So they want to help a friend in need. However, the commissioner that represents America mentions that one of America's very own heroes is on her way to Japan, ready to blow everything away. An American hero who apparently looks at All Might as her master. She is none other than the United States of America's #1 hero, Stars and Stripes. But finding out that she somehow has a connection to All Might confirms in my eyes what I have been saying for a long time, which is that Deku will indeed go to America and be trained by the #1 hero in America. And especially with all the hints that All Might is going to die, Deku is going to need someone who is connected to All Might to be his next master. And I think America's #1 hero could be that person, because it's possible that she may even rival the power of All Might. And in this video, I actually talk about All Might's greatest rival, so watch that video now. Wing It Zone every single